Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 10 dolls that I think would make a great foundational doll collection. Now, this is obviously going to be an opinion piece of mine, but I get a lot of messages and comments from people who have decided to start collecting dolls, and some of them don't know where to start, or some of them are just finally giving in to their want to collect dolls, and this is just what I think would make a great basic doll collection. Now, when I say basic, I don't mean, you know, basic in some sense, but like a base foundational doll collection if you want to collect a lot of different types of dolls. And I've gone through my collection and I've kind of looked at it and decided what I think those 10 dolls would be. So again, this is my opinion, so take that with a grain of salt and let's jump right into it. Number 10 on my list is a 16-inch fashion doll. Now, there are so many varieties of 16-inch fashion dolls out there on the market to choose from. This is an older Franklin Mint Scarlett O'Hara doll, and she is a 16-inch vinyl fashion doll. Let me state that too, vinyl and plastic fashion doll. I think these dolls are great collectibles because there are a lot of people who make items for them on the secondary market, and it's not difficult to find new outfits, wigs, shoes, accessories, things like that for these dolls. I also, of course, love Tonner dolls. I love the Elowin Wild series. This is Elowin Neutral Ground from Virtual Doll Convention, which there are still a handful of these available, so I'll leave a link to that below in the video description. But I think a 16-inch fashion doll in plastic and vinyl is one of the great foundational dolls for a doll collection because you've got that fashion doll, that maturity there. They're lots of fun, and again, there's just so many things out there on the secondary market that you can get for them. There's outfits that are both factory made and produced by a company, and there's outfits created by independent designers that you can have commissioned for your doll or that you can buy just on Etsy or from the designers themselves. And so that's one of the things I really love about this genre and size of doll, but there's so many great ones out there. These are just two, and you know, the Tonner dolls, they run around $250 brand new, the Elowins do. The Franklin Mint 16-inch vinyl dolls, I got this one at Goodwill for $3, and so, you know, you can get lucky on the secondary market sometimes. So one of the things that we're also going to talk about throughout this video is budget, and you don't have to have a huge budget to get most of the dolls here in the list, and so you can find these vinyl 16-inch dolls fairly inexpensively on the secondary market. So I wanted to point that out to you guys, but that is my number 10 pick, is a 16-inch fashion doll. Number 9 on my list is a Blythe doll. Now, with Blythe dolls, you have a lot of different options for your dolls. First of all, there is the original Blythe. Now, these dolls you need a considerable budget for because they do run more expensively for an original vintage Kenner Blythe. I got mine for a lesser price because she needed some work, but she still was over $500. So keep that in mind. Original Blythe, you can get a stock Blythe directly from Junie Moon or CC Toys in Hong Kong, and these stock Blythes, they are as low as $130 sometimes. So again, these are higher on the budgetary scale, I guess, than some of the other dolls we're going to talk about today, but I really love Blythe dolls, and I think they're great, and I think they're a great addition to a collection because there's such a following for Blythe, and there's such a love for Blythe. And then we have custom Blythe. So you can get a customized Blythe from an artist. This one is from Little Matilda Atelier. This one is from Ophelia Queen, and there are so many amazing customizers. Now, custom Blythes are going to run you anywhere from $400 and up because the artists take a lot of time carving, sanding, changing eye chips, you know, painting the dolls, doing all kinds of different things to them. But Blythe, I just feel like, is such an important part of doll collecting culture, and she's such an amazing doll. Now, there are fake Blythes that are out there that are less expensive. I'm not really going to advocate those. I do prefer the legit ones, but you can get a legit stock Blythe for around $100 sometimes on the secondary market, but brand new from, you know, Junie Moon, you can get them as low as $130 sometimes. So you'll have to set a little bit more aside for your budget for that. But again, love Blythe so much. She's so important in the doll community, and I think she makes a great foundational doll to a doll collection. Number 8 on my list is an international Playline doll. And what do I mean by that? I mean, get a Playline doll from a country that is not your own. I think that is one of the best ways to learn about another culture. It is one of the best ways to learn about dolls from other places. Just pick a country and look for dolls that are native to that country, I guess you could say, and see what they have, because you will be interested, or I at least am very interested to see what dolls are like in other places, dolls that I didn't grow up with and how they are. So what you have here in blue, this is a Nancy Famosa doll. They are made in Spain. This is the classic Nancy face, and what I will say is these dolls today are called re-editions, and they are actually made for collectors. Their Playline Nancys today don't have this same face, but this is the classic Playline Nancy face. These dolls run around 70 or 80 euros. eBay is your friend if you want to get an international Playline doll. You can look on eBay from other countries. You can look on eBay in your own country. Sometimes they will pop up for sale, but I really love looking at Playline dolls from other places. These are Korean blings. Now, they are not currently being made anymore, but sometimes they do pop up on eBay. I think they are absolutely adorable. Korea makes some of the cutest dolls you've ever seen. I have several Playline dolls from Korea, and they're just, I mean, look at them. They're just so cute, and it's just so fun, again, to learn about dolls from different countries. And then, of course, my heart, Juanita Perez. She is from Mexico, and so we've kind of looked at several places across the globe here with just these 3 types of dolls, and I just love Playline dolls from other countries, because again, you can learn so much about a country and a culture by looking at their dolls, especially if that's something you're already interested in. And I think too, it expands your horizons as to what your collection looks like, and it's fun to have an interesting piece when somebody looks at your collection and says, hey, I've never seen one of those, what is that? And you can tell them, you know, well, I sourced this doll from this country and here's the story behind it. For me, the stories behind dolls are one of the things that makes doll collecting so fascinating. I do a lot of research and reading online and in old doll magazines and things like that, and to me, I just love learning that stuff. And so I feel like having an international Playline doll from a country that's not your own, you know, is a great addition to your collection. Number 7 on my list is a Disney Animators collection doll. Now, this is a doll that is not going to break your budget. First of all, I find these dolls very frequently at thrift stores and flea markets. Both of these came from either a thrift store or the flea market. And I've got Moana here. Moana's a little bit of a different shape than most of the Animators dolls. Tinkerbell here is the more standard size. But here's what I love about these dolls. First of all, again, on the artisan market, you can find a lot of awesome clothes that are made for these dolls. They're 16 inches tall, and you can see this outfit is absolutely adorable. My friend Shira gave me this one, but they're not difficult to find clothes for the Animators dolls, and they are just so cute, and I love that. I love having options with dolls, and that's one of the great things about these Animators dolls. And again, the other great thing is that they're really budgetarily friendly. You know, even if you're going to buy one brand new, the most they ever are at Disney is, I think they're $25 or $30. I normally get them on sale. They have that once upon a year or twice upon a year sale, and sometimes they're $14.99. You can even find them on clearance at Disney. I've bought an Aladdin for $3.99. So, and that was brand new from Disney directly. That is one of the things I love about these dolls. They're very easily accessible, they're inexpensive, and if you're like me and you're a big fan of Disney, they pretty much have a doll for you from pretty much every movie they've ever made, or most of the movies, not every movie. That, you know, we don't have any Sword in the Stone dolls, unfortunately, or Black Cauldron dolls, but you know, some of the main movies, like if Peter Pan was your favorite, you've got a Tinkerbell. If The Little Mermaid was your favorite, you've got an Ariel, you've got Moana, you've got the Frozen dolls. So there's so many choices, and I think there's really something for everybody with the Animators collection, and I just really love them as a collectible. I have a lot of them. They're up on the top shelf of they sit on top of my shelves in my doll room, and I can't resist them when I see them at thrift stores and flea markets. So these are great dolls for your budget. They're great for collecting. They clean up really well because this vinyl just comes really clean with magic eraser. That's what I really like about them. Now the hair is not great quality, so that's one of the things you might want to look at when you're buying them on, you know, at your yard sales, flea markets, thrift stores, etc. The hair can be a little bit difficult to work with, but if you're up for a good challenge and you enjoy restoring dolls like I do, you know, maybe that's a bonus for you because you can get some level of satisfaction from giving an old doll new life. So anyway, Disney Animators dolls are amazing for the collectible value. They are a Playline doll, but there are a lot of collectors like myself who love them. I think they are a great foundational doll for any doll collection. Number 6 on my list is a Cabbage Patch Kids doll, and these dolls just have they're such a cultural icon. You know, if you're my age or maybe a little bit older, you probably remember the frenzy that was around these dolls. Now, I don't remember it exactly because I was one of the kids whose mom and grandma were frenzied over getting me one. This is the one that I got when I was about 3 years old, and apparently I was really lucky to get it, and there was only one left, and my mom told me that she was there and this lady had 2 and gave her one of them. So that was really cool. You know, I think it's a great story, and I do think it's interesting that there was such a frenzy and a phenomenon around these dolls. They also have the entire Babyland General Hospital in Georgia that you can visit, and you can see all the different types of Cabbage Patch Kids, and they have a mini museum where you can see the history there. That's where I got this doll. These are a more premium sort of Cabbage Patch doll, and you can see they dress them in real baby clothes, and they're a little bit bigger, or not just a little, I think they're a lot bigger actually in my opinion, but it's just such a cool place to visit, and there's a tour here on the channel of that if you want to check it out, but they have so many cool things to see there, and it's just, again, just a cultural phenomenon this doll was back in the early 80s, and they're still going strong today. You know, you can still go, I was gonna say you can still go to toy stores and find them. Well, there's not really a lot of toy stores around anymore, but you can still find these dolls, and they're very available on the secondary market. If you go, I can't tell you, every time I go to the flea market, I see Cabbage Patch dolls. So if you're on a budget, it's not hard to get yourself one if you want a vintage one. If you want a newer one, they're not outside of, you know, a normal budget. They're not too terribly expensive. Now, these premium ones are a little more expensive that come from the actual Babyland Hospital, but that's kind of tourist prices. You know how it is when you're at an attraction, things are always going to be a little more expensive. But I think they're great dolls. I think they're so fun, and I have special childhood memories of them, so maybe that's why they're on this list. But I do feel like a Cabbage Patch doll makes a great part of a doll collection just because of the story and the whole history of these dolls. You know, maybe I think I'll do an iconic doll episode on Cabbage Patch dolls, but I do think they belong in every doll collection. Number 5 on my list is a Smart doll. Now these dolls are going to be the second highest doll on the budgetary list here. They're a little under $500 US right now with exchange. They're 52,000 yen, and I love these dolls so much. They are a 1/3 scale, so they are a bigger doll, but they are so cool. They're such a community around these dolls, and you can see they have great fashions available. This fashion is by Elite Doll World, of course, my favorite designer for Smart doll clothes, and this doll is wearing Culture Japan original stuff except for her t-shirt, which was designed by Doll Shopaholics, which is great. She makes great t-shirts for dolls, and I just really love Smart dolls. They're very posable. They're made of vinyl. You can get extra hand packs. They are, what else can I say about them? I have an entire playlist about these dolls here on my channel. They're just so cool, and there's such an awesome community around them, and they're a lot of fun. They're beautiful. They have different style faces because they have anime faces. They also have the semi-real faces, so you can kind of pick whichever one you want, and these dolls all have amazing backstories that are really well thought out and written, and you can kind of connect to a doll, so you can read a doll's backstory and decide which doll is right for you. Again, these are on the higher end of the budgetary list, but I think they're well worth the price for the quality that you get, and I think they make an amazing part of a doll collection. Number 4 on my list is a BJD, and I'm not going to tell you which BJD, I'm just going to say a BJD. I have loads of them here on the channel. There are so many good choices to pick from. There's Teeny Tinker's dolls, and she's got these new teeny tinies that are super sweet, super affordable, 3D printed BJDs that are fantasy. You can see we got the fantasy ears, fantasy colors. So there are so many different types of BJDs that are out there and so many artists making their own wonderful BJDs. Another one, of course, is Atelier Momonita. Now these dolls are going to run you a little bit more, around the €500 mark for one of these, but they pose amazingly well. They're super gorgeous faces. I love these dolls so much. They're mature. They can wear Barbie size clothes. So that's another thing when you're looking at BJDs is, you know, maybe consider one that's going to be able to share clothes with other things, especially if you're starting a basic collection, like you're starting your foundational collection. You might want your dolls to be able to share back and forth. So that's something to consider. We've got Judy Porter's toddlers here. This is Brielle, and she is adorable. She can share clothes with Welly Wishers and Diana Effner little darling dolls. So I just think these are an awesome doll as well for BJD collection. There are so many other, again, BJDs that I have in my collection that I think would make a great first BJD. Isla dolls is another one that I think is a great first BJD for your collection. But there's so many, it's impossible for me to name them all. And there's one for every budgetary price point. You know, they range from under $100 all the way up to the $6,000 or $7,000 price mark. So whatever you feel comfortable spending and whatever's in your budget, there is something out there for you in a BJD. So I do think that every collection should have one, because I think it's interesting for people to see. I know for me, I've had articulated dolls before, but when you get your first BJD and you really start moving that around and playing with the articulation and the movement and the posing, that's a lot of fun, and it really elevates your doll quote unquote play so that you can do all these different poses and things like that. So a BJD is high up on my list of a doll that you should have in your foundational doll collection. Number 3 is an American Girl doll. Now this may be another one that ties back to my childhood and my fond memories of them, but 18-inch dolls are so popular today, and it really started, the popularity really boomed with American Girl dolls in 1986, and they're still going strong today. They've got so many different options. They've got a lot more face molds, skin tones, and hairstyles than they had when I was a kid, and I think they're really a great doll for a collection, because there are tons, and I mean tons, of accessories, clothing, props, different things that you can get for these dolls that are readily available at every store you go to, whether it's Walmart, Target, Michael's, any of those types of stores. They have clothes and accessories for these dolls. Not to mention, you know, all the doll designers out there that create clothes for them, like this Elite Doll World outfit. I love this romper on Makena. I think it is so adorable. But I just really love American Girl, and I always have, and I feel like, now these are going to be in your budgetary price point. These dolls are $140 new, I believe, but you can find them. I found a Molly for $3 at Goodwill. I found dolls at the flea market frequently. I got a Sage, I was going to say Nikki, I got a Sage a couple of weeks ago for 30 bucks. So you can find an American Girl in your budget if you have a small budget, but you really want to add one to your collection. You could also do another 18-inch doll if American Girl is just not your thing. You know, Target has the Our Generation brand. There's Journey Girls. There's a lot of different 18-inch dolls, the I Love You Disney line. So there's a lot of great dolls out there if you don't love American Girl, but I do. I think they're great, and whatever your budget is, you can find one in your budget. You might find one that needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but the nice thing about these dolls is they clean up very well. Again, magic eraser, give the hair a little wash, and most of these dolls are going to be, you know, looking and feeling fresh and new. I have a video on the channel of how I restored my Molly that I picked up from Goodwill, so you can check that out if you want to see how to clean up a really nasty old American Girl doll. But I just feel like there's such a part, again, of doll collecting culture. There's so many people that start out like me as kids with American Girls that have evolved into adult collectors of American Girl dolls, and adults that collect American Girls that started collecting them in 1986. My friend's grandma was collecting them back when they came out. I've been reading through some old Doll Reader magazines, and there is an advertisement from a 1986 issue for a debut of the American Girls collection, and I think that is really cool that that's out there. So anyway, Love these dolls. I think they make a great foundational piece for the doll collection. Number 2 on my list, and coming in at the most expensive doll on the list, but I can't help it. I love these dolls so much, and I wish every collector could have one because I think they're fantastic. It's a Lavender Poupées wooden doll. Now, the smallest doll, she doesn't take orders for. She makes them and sells them as they become available. They are 450 euros each, and I just think they're amazing. They're amazingly detailed. They're hand carved. Everything about these dolls is handmade by the artist. Then you've got the next size up, and you're gonna have to forgive me. I cannot remember the price of this size, but you can always email the artist and ask her. But they are just so gorgeous, so detailed. Then you've got the bigger dolls, and you'll have to forgive me again. I want to say maybe 850 euros is the price of this one. So gorgeous, everything about these dolls. And they are my favorite dolls to unbox, because when you unbox one of these dolls, you get hit immediately with the scent of lavender, and there's candy in the box, and it's just amazing to hold one of these dolls in your hands. Now then there's the jointed body. These are 1100 euros because there is a lot of carving and a lot of work that goes into this. Worth every single last penny. I don't know if penny's what you would say since it's euros, but it is worth every cent that you pay for these dolls. They are so fantastically well made. Lorena is such a talented artist, and I feel like if you're gonna have an artist handmade doll in your collection, these dolls are second to none. Like, they are just so amazing. So if your budget is small, try to catch one of the small dolls. Now I'm going to tell you that's going to be hard because she recently posted 2 redheads that she had made, and I sent her a message to ask if they had already been sold, and she said yes, they had already been sold, and I messaged her probably an hour after she posted them. So you'll have to be paying attention and put those notifications on if you want to catch these as they become available. But you can also put your name on the list to order one of the other dolls, so that's a little less stressful. These dolls are the next least expensive, and then you've got your bigger dolls. So, and she's does very generous layaway plans. You can pay for your doll, you know, over time. So I just think she's just an amazing artist, you guys. I hope one day to meet her in person and give her a big hug, because she has brought so much joy to my life with her beautiful and amazing dolls. And I, again, wish every collector in the world could at least see them in person to actually appreciate the artistry behind them. And I'll tell you a funny story about that. My brother-in-law is here visiting right now, and he saw this doll, and he was looking at her, and he said, is this wood? And I said yes, and he was absolutely fascinated by how amazing this doll is, and how jointed she is, and how realistic, you know, she looks, and just everything about her. And I told him, this is a true art masterpiece, is it not? And he was like, yeah, in agreement. So even people that don't do dolls can recognize how amazing these dolls are. But anyway, they're the most expensive dolls that I put on this list. And I did that because I really wish every collector could have one, and just to appreciate them, because they are so amazing. So that is number 2 on my list. Number 1 on my list is Barbie. Barbie is probably the most accessible doll on this list. She's probably a doll that every collector has seen at some point or another in their lives. And Mattel has done a great job with really expanding Barbie, expanding the selections of Barbies, skin tones, hairstyles, and differently abled Barbies, lots of things like that. I especially love the made to move body if you're a collector, because you can get so many cool poses out of these joints that they have. The articulation is absolutely fantastic, and you can find these in the US for less than $20 for a made to move Barbie. I actually find them at the flea market fairly frequently for around $1 or $2, and so I pick them up whenever I see them. You can also grab a lot of great older vintage Barbies. This is a more vintage Barbie, new in the box, for very reasonably priced. And so whatever your taste is, there is a Barbie out there for you. Another great thing about Barbie, again, all kinds of accessories, clothes, anything you can pick for her. The accessibility, you can buy a Barbie practically anywhere. The drugstore, Walmart, the grocery store, there is a Barbie in almost every store, at least here in the United States. And as I've traveled abroad, they have them in all the stores that I've traveled abroad to. So Barbie is just, she is an icon. You know, a lot of us, Barbie was our first doll that we really remember. Barbie is the first doll that I ever remember having. And so I just think that's really, incredible that for her to have lasted this long and to have the legacy that she has, and to be coming out with all the different styles, and again, the diversity that they are having now in their collection is amazing, and the different body types and skin tones, hairstyles, again, just, I really love Barbie for that reason. And they're not that expensive. You know, you can get some of the fashionistas sometimes for $7. And so I think that's great. And I think the other great thing about Barbie is it's great as a collector to have a Barbie to compare to other dolls, because when you she's kind of like one of the rules of thumb when you talk about dolls to people. Well, what size is she? Well, she can wear Barbie clothes, or she can't wear Barbie clothes, or she's about the height of a Barbie. Or that's one of the cool things about Barbie is she's almost like a standard unit of measure. She's like kind of like the meter. Like, you can measure up everything to Barbie. And so I think she's just an amazing doll. You know, I don't talk about Barbie a lot on the channel, but I think she's an important doll for doll collectors, and an important doll in the United States for doll collecting history and for the doll community as a whole. So that's why I put her in at number 1, and also because she's very accessible. It's easy to find a Barbie, I would guess, no matter where you are. I've seen them everywhere I've traveled, and there's so many of them out there. So Barbie is my number 1 foundational doll for your collection. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my selections. Let me know who you would have included that I did not include, and let me know who you would have excluded that I included in my list. I think a lot of my list really goes to my childhood and the things that I loved as a child, and so maybe it might be that every collector should look at what gives them nostalgia. Why do you want to collect dolls today? Is there a doll from your childhood that you really loved and that you missed, or that you still have? And maybe that's the road that you could take to start your doll collection, because a lot of doll collecting for me is rooted in the nostalgia of American Girls and Barbies, and so I feel like that's probably applies to a lot of other people as well. So anyway, again guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons from Patreon: Lindsay S., Leah W., Doreen Z., Janice H., Mercedes W., Cindy K., Bear Sunflower, Diane B., Kelly L., Cindy L., Susie W., Krista R., Victory Run, Shorna R., Shira Star Hobby, Stephanie W., Jessica S., Ray M., Asia C., and Black Y. Thank you so much for your support. Your support helps me continue to bring you great dolly content. For information on how you can become a supporter of this channel, please check the link in the video description. Thank you for watching.